In some breaking news we just received, independent MPs from the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna have decided to support Dallas Alaha Perumu for president. This was confirmed to Newsfirst by Anura Priyadarshana this evening. Meanwhile, SLFP former chairman, former President Maithripala Sirisena said that the majority of the Central Working Committee decided to vote for Dallas Alaha Perumu. Now let's take a look at your headlines for this bulletin.
Dallas Ranil and Anura to contest for presidency.
මම යෝජනා කරනවා ගරු ඩලස් අලහ පෙරුම මැතිතුමා.
ඩලස් අලහ පෙරුම මන්ත්‍රීතුමාගේ නම මම ස්ථිර කරමි.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාගේ නම
යෝජනා කරන ලද නම මම ස්ථිර කරමි. අනුර දිසානායක මන්ත්‍රීවරයා මම යෝජනා කරමි.
ඒ නම මම ස්ථිර කරනවා.
A common purpose, says Sajid and Dallas.
මෙරට අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ මතවාද වලට වඩා සම්මුතිවාදී සහභාගීත්ව සම්මුතිවාදී සංස්කෘතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම උදෙසා අපි සියලු දෙනාම අත්වල බැඳගන්නවා.
Argale rejects Ranil as a legitimate candidate for the presidency.
Ranil Wickramasinghe Rajapaksa juntaවත් පළවා හරිනතුරු මේ අරගලය අකණ්ඩව ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා කියන එක අපි කියන්න කැමතියි.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහව මේ මොහොතේ බලයට ගෙනීම ජනතා විරෝධී.
අපි අගමැතිවරයා විදිහට ඉඳගදිද්දි ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරා. අපි ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකවරයා විදිහටත් අරගල භූමිය රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරන තරම්.
Members of the struggle request people not to protest opposite the parliament. Catholic Church condemns acting president's comments on Easter attacks inquiry.
Main sponsor.
Earn the highest interest rate of 21% for 4 months fixed deposits. LB Yasaisuru.
Now on to your top story of the bulletin. The names of 3 members of parliament were proposed and seconded in parliament today for the vacancy of the presidency, with the resignation of former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Accordingly, the names of acting President Ranil Wickramasinghe, MP Dallas Alaha Perumu and MP Anura Disanayake were proposed.
The Sri Lankan Parliament convened this morning to call for nominations for the vacancy of the presidency.
ගරු මන්ත්‍රීවරුනි නාම යෝජනා ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම සඳහා ඔබතුමන්ලාට දැන් අවස්ථාව තිබෙන බව මම මෙම ගරු සභාවට කාරුණිකව දන්වා සිටිමි.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා හැටියට නාම යෝජනා ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම මම යෝජනා කරනවා ගරු ඩලස් අලහ පෙරුම මැතිතුමා.
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි, ගරු මහලේකම්තුමනි, ශ්‍රී ලංකා ජනාධිපති ධූරය සඳහා ගරු පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී ඩලස් අලහ පෙරුම මන්ත්‍රීතුමාගේ නම මම ස්ථිර කරමි.
ගරු පාර්ලිමේන්තු මහලේකම්තුමනි, ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ ජනාධිපති තනතුරට තෝරාපත් කර ගැනීම සඳහා මෙම ගරු සභාවේ මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් වන ගරු රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාගේ නම 81 අංක 2 දරන ජනාධිපතිවරණ තෝරාපත් කර ගැනීමේ විශේෂ විධිවිධාන වගන්තිය යටතේ වගන්තිය ප්‍රකාරව මා ඉතාම සතුටින් ඉදිරිපත් කරන
කතානායකතුමනි, ගරු මහලේකම්තුමනි, ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා වික්‍රමසිංහ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරයාගේ නම යෝජනා කරන ලද නම මම ස්ථිර කරමි.
වෙනත් නම් තිබෙනවා නම් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න.
ගරු මහලේකම්තුමනි, 2022 ජනාධිපතිවරයා තේරීමේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණයට ජාතික ජනබලවේගය නියෝජනය කරමින් අනුර දිසානායක මන්ත්‍රීවරයා මම යෝජනා කරමි.
ඒ නම කරුණා කරලා ස්ථීර කරන්න.
ගරු ලේකම්තුමනි, ඒ නම මම ස්ථිර කරනවා.
එක් මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙකුට වඩා වැඩි දෙනෙකුගේ නම් යෝජනා කර ස්ථිර කරනු ලැබ තිබෙන හේයින් 2022 ජූලි මාස 20 වැනි බදාදා පූර්ව භාග 10ට පාර්ලිමේන්තුව රැස් වී ඡන්ද විමසීමේ කාර්යයේ නිරත විය යුතු බවට අදාළ කාර්ය යෝජනාව ගරු පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සභානායකතුමා විසින් දැන් ඉදිරිපත් කරනු.
ගරු සභානායකතුමා,
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa, who had previously announced that he would run for the presidency, withdrew today and proposed the name of Dallas Alahap Peruma. These are some of the members of parliament who expressed their remarks at the end of the parliamentary session.
We want a new political culture. Today we took the first step to start the political journey that the people expect. At a time when sacrifices have to be made for the country, at a time when we as a party have to take decisions for the benefit of the people, our leader sacrificed his post for the betterment of the country.
එකන එක ගත්‍රයකට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ ඩලස් ජනාධිපතිතුමා සජිත් අගමැතිතුමා කියන කතාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම
Yes, definitely. We should unite and form a government, an all-party government. We started laying the basic foundation of that all-party government 2 or 3 weeks ago. This is the beginning of the program to rebuild the country together just as the people expect.
කෝට්ටුවේ මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ට පවා අමාත්‍යවරු ලබා දෙනවද යම?
Yes, we are discussing this.
ඔබතුමා ඩලස් අලහප් පෙරමුණගේ නම ස්ථිර කළා. ඒක ඔබේ පෞද්ගලික තීරණයක්ද ඒක පක්ෂීය තීරණයක්ද?
පක්ෂයේ අපි බහුතරයේ අදහස අනුව තමයි මම ඒ ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයේ අන්තවලදී
පක්ෂය දෙකට බෙදිලා නේද? සභාපතිතුමා
අතලොස්සක් ඉන්නවා වෙන මතයක ඕනෑම පක්ෂයකට ඒක වෙන ස්වභාවික දෙයක්. ඒක අමුතු දෙයක් නෙවෙයි.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතා අගමැති කරන්න ඔබතුමාලා එකඟද?
Yes, that is what the people want. All must come together rather than staying in opposing camps to govern the country. The old system failed. That is why both parties must come together and govern while putting forward a program to realize the aspirations of the people. That is the need of the hour.
Meanwhile, speaking at a press briefing at the UNP party headquarters in Sirikota, General Secretary of the UNP, Palitarange Bandara, criticized the decisions of the opposition leader.
Speaking at a press briefing at Sirikota earlier, it was said that Sajid Premadasa will not accept any responsibility. Today's incidents confirm this. At first he said he will contest in the presidential election. He said he will provide leadership. He will bring the relevant shipments and provide relief from friendly countries in the Middle East. After saying all of that, on the day of the nominations, he decided to sacrifice Dallas Alahap Peruma. Throughout his life, he made such sacrifices. Why is he afraid of Ranil so much? It is because he knows that if Ranil comes into power, the problems and the pressure of the people will be solved. Ranil has the quality of solving problems. When the pressure faced by the people is alleviated, the Janata Vimukti Peramuna or the Samagi Jana Balawegaya will not be able to rally the people. Therefore, they are afraid of Ranil. The parliament will decide. It will happen according to the majority of the parliament.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ එනවට බයයි.
දැන් රනිල් ජනාධිපති වුණාම අගමැති කවුද?
පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තීන්දුව කරයි. බහුතර කැමැත්තට ඕනේ තීන්දුව දෙන්න.
දැන් අර පැත්තේ සාකච්ඡාව උනේ අගමැති සජිත් ජනාධිපති දලස් කියලා. දැන් ඔබතුමාලා එහෙම අගමැති කවුද තෝරාගෙන නැහැ නේද?
මම හිතන්නේ ලංකාවේ නෙමෙයි වෙන්නේ නැති ඔය පුංචි දූපතක්වත් අල්ලගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ඉරලා ඔය දෙක ගහ ගන්න පුළුවන්. වෙන ඉතින් මේ ගන්න හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ නේද?
Opposition leaders Sajid Premadasa and candidate Dallas Alahap Peruma sat together for the first time today to address the media following the nominations. Speaking at a press briefing, presidential candidate Dallas Alahap Peruma and opposition leader Sajid Premadasa said a consensus must be reached instead of engaging in disputes.
අපි අතර ගොඩනැගුණේ මතවාදයක් පමණක් නෙමෙයි සම්මුතිවාදයක්. මේ රටට අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ මතවාද වලට වඩා සම්මුතිවාදය.
What we had was not only an ideological dispute but a consensus as well. The country needs a consensus rather than an ideological dispute. I would like to name today as the day of consensus. Oftentimes, parliamentarians surrounded by the Diyavanna Oya fail to realize the woes of the people. They are asking for a change in this political culture. That collective is what will be utilized in this instance. We must not be divided according to race, party and caste. One leader cannot save this country. On the day of consensus, we request those who gave their nominations for the ballot to understand what the people are saying as one team.
අපි එක කණ්ඩායමක් විදියට මේ මිනිසුන්ගේ හැඟීම් තේරුම් අරගෙන මේ සම්මුතියේ දිනය යථාවත් කරමු කියලා කියන ඉල්ලීම රට ලේවිලක් හැටියට පත් කරන්නේ නැතුව
We begin our journey to uplift this country from the crisis it's in through consensus and realization instead of creating a bloodbath. We would like to make a request. We made this sacrifice for the people. The achievements of the political parties must be the achievements of the country. We joined hands to implement the tradition of reaching consensus, leaving aside the old traditions, keeping in mind the constitutional change people expect, such as the 19th Amendment including good state governance and the opportunity for civil society to take part in governance through a state council. The majority of the political parties have joined us in this fresh start. One political figure or two is not important to us. What's important to us is the lives of the 22 million people.
අපට වැදගත් වන්නේ හුදෙකලාව දේශපාලඥයින් එක්කෙනෙක් දෙන්නෙක් නොව අපට වැදගත් වන්නේ අපේ පුරවැසියන් ලක්ෂ 220කගේ ජන ජීවිතය.
The Central Committee and Parliamentary Group of Sri Lanka Freedom Party has decided to support Dallas Alahaperuma for president.
අපේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී කණ්ඩායමත්
The Central Committee and the Parliamentary Group had a lengthy discussion and decided to support Dallas Alahaperuma for president at the election that will take place in Parliament on Wednesday. We have 9 MPs and all 9 are of the same view.
අපි අනිවාර්යෙන් දලස් අලහප්පෙරුම මැතිතුමාට අපේ සහයෝගය ලබා දෙන්න තීන්දුවක් ගත්තා. ඇත්තටම
The two main contenders gave us an opportunity to meet them after they had been nominated in Parliament today. We met both Ranil Wickremesinghe as well as Dallas Alahaperuma. We presented them our proposals on how to move forward. Majority of the Central Working Committee. It would be fair to say that almost 100% of our Central Working Committee unanimously decided to vote for Dallas Alahaperuma. We, the MPs representing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, have accepted their decision.
කියලා. ඉතින් ඒ අනුව අපේ മന്ത്രി කණ්ඩායමත් ඒ තීරණය පිළිගන්නවා.
Independent MPs from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna have decided to support Dallas Alahaperuma for president. This was confirmed to Newsfirst by Andra Priyadarshana Yapa this evening. Moving on to more local news, leaders of the group of 11 independent parties convened a briefing in Colombo to announce their position.
First of all, I would like to thank Sajith Premadasa for setting aside his own ambitions of becoming president and taking the steps required to make the demand at present. When Dallas Alahaperuma becomes president tomorrow, Sajith Premadasa will receive a powerful position in that government. Moreover, every party, including all opposition parties, will be represented in this government. We informed the Janata Vimukti Peramuna that there is no issue if their candidate withdraws, similar to Nihal Galapatti, to reach an agreement. I invite the leader of Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Anukumara Dissanayake, to come to join this government to give his ideas as well. We urge all parliamentarians to extend their support to Dallas Alahaperuma to become president, leaving aside the differences we have. We know that some MPs are reluctant. Ranil Wickremesinghe has created that reluctance in your mind in a clever manner for his election campaign. This will be an administration that will get rid of the insecure feelings of the people. This will create a country that will move forward through friendship and unity instead of disputes. The SLPP supporting Ranil Wickremesinghe in tomorrow's ballot is the biggest joke of the decade. The parliamentarians who broke away from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in 2015 established the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Party in 2016 to topple Ranil's government. In 2018, the SLPP brought in a no-confidence motion to remove Ranil Wickremesinghe from the premiership. Moreover, they tried to remove Ranil Wickremesinghe by creating the 52-day government with President Maithripala Sirisena. What is happening today? Today, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is trying to appoint Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was rejected by the people to an extent where he didn't even get at least a seat in parliament, to the highest office in the country.
Leader of the National People's Power, Andra Kumara Dissanayake, elaborated on the NPP's position in current politics.
Whoever wins this presidential election will face a number of basic aspirations of the people of the country, and these aspirations must be fulfilled. First and foremost, you know our country is in a very difficult situation. Therefore, our suggestion was to bring the cabinet ministers to 10. There is no point of creating ministerial positions such as deputy minister, and State Minister. No matter who forms the government, it should be an interim government. As far as I know, neither Ranil Wickremesinghe nor Dallas Alahappiruma have said whether the government being formed is an interim government. If Ranil Wickremesinghe says tomorrow that this parliament will only be valid for 6 months, the MPs who are willing to stay in the parliament for the remaining 3 years will not vote for him. The same goes for Dallas Alahappiruma as well. The SLPP proposed Ranil Wickremesinghe, and the leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya proposed the SLPP's treasurer.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ පෙන්ෂන් එකත් අරගෙන ඉතුරු අවුරුදු 3ක් ඉඳලා යන්න ණය ඡන්දෙ දෙන්නේ නේ. පොහොට්ටුවේ සභාපති යෝජනා කරනවා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ, සජබේ නායකයා යෝජනා කරනවා පොහොට්ටුවේ බහණ්ඩාගාරිකව. හරිද? මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ එහෙම එකක්.
At the end, the leader of the United National Party comes forward as the Pohottuwa nominee. The treasurer of Pohottuwa presents himself as the SJB nominee. This is a ridiculous situation. Our stance is that after 6 months, there has to be a new government. I am sure that neither Ranil nor Dallas have an answer for this. Can they say before tomorrow if they are going for an interim government? And for how long will that government be in operation?
හෙටට කලින් පුළුවන් නම් කියන ඔබ කොට නගන්නේ අන්තර් පාලනයක් නම් ඒ අන්තර් පාලනයේ කාලය කුමක්ද?
Journalists asked Anura Kumara Dissanayake if he would withdraw from the election. There is no such idea at the moment because now the candidate is clear. Dallas Alahappiruma represents the Pohottuwa chairman's team and Ranil Wickremesinghe represents Pohottuwa secretary's team. So why should we resign for a competition between the secretary and the chairman?
පොහොට්ටුවේ සාගර කාර්යසම් ලේකම්ගේ පිළ. ඉතින් සභාපති සහ ලේකම් අතර තරඟයකට අපි මොකද ඉල්ලස් වෙන්නේ?
A ruling faction MP also expressed his position. Given the circumstances, it is Ranil Wickremesinghe who we should elect. Ranil Wickremesinghe is one individual. He cannot act according to his whims and fancies. He will have to listen to the 120 odd MPs in our party. By appointing Dallas Alahappiruma, it is possible to appoint a great leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna as the president of the country. To all our MPs gathered around the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and for the suffering people of this country today.
There is a vote, but I am ready to use it based on my conscience, even if it is a secret vote.
According to our calculations, it appears that Dallas Alahappiruma has an excess of 20 more votes than the required number. My vote is for Dallas Alahappiruma. Dallas Alahappiruma is trying to form an all-party government. People demanded an all-party government. It's not a one-party government. The unique event is that the name of the minister, Dallas Alahappiruma, was proposed by the opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and seconded by the chairman of the SLPP, Professor G.L. Piris. So I am personally happy about that because for a long time the people of this country, the intellectuals of this country, the young people in the struggle, all of them expected that the problems of this country should be solved through an all-party government. This was the expectations of all the people. A leadership without Gotabaya Rajapaksa and this Rajapaksa group that did not give in to the corruption and scams, using the strength, ability, experience and the connections with the international community to help this country recover from where it has fallen to. These people could not survive, could not get fuel, no petrol for an ambulance and no rice. So we believe that we will be able to recover from all of that suffering.
මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට ජීවත් වෙන්න බැරුව තෙල් ටිකක් ගහ ගන්න බැරුව ඇම්බියුලන්ස් එකට පෙට්‍රෝල් ටික නැතුව හරි හාල් ටික නැතුව මහා මේ විඳින දුකෙන් ගොඩ ගන්න අපිට හැකියාවක් ලැබෙවි කියන එක අපි විශ්වාස.
The Tamil National Alliance is also engaged in a decisive discussion on whom to support at tomorrow's election.
The discussion is held at party leader R. Sambandhan's private residence.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa today tweeted that irrespective of who becomes the president, it is his humble request to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and all Indian political parties and the people of India to keep helping Sri Lanka and its people to come out of this disaster.
Main sponsor.
Earn a highest interest rate of 21% for 4 months fixed deposits. LB Yasaisuru.
The Criminal Investigations Department informed the Colombo Magistrates Court that an inquiry is underway on people who post content on social media that violates the privileges of members of parliament. The Computer Crimes Division of the CID informed court about its investigation via a confidential report.
The investigation had uncovered information that posts are being published on social media to incite fear among members of parliament, calling them not to vote for Ranil Wickremesinghe at the election for president to be held tomorrow. It also added that such posts are being published to violate the privileges of members of parliament and to change public opinion. Considering the facts detailed in the report, the court ordered the CID to submit a progress report on this investigation. Activists at the Aragalaya protests in Galface, Colombo convened a media briefing to highlight their positions following the developments in the political sphere.
We would like to address the general public on the following actions. To start off with the upcoming parliamentary presidential election, we would like to categorically state that we reject Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe as a legitimate candidate for the presidency. Our stance have been consistent ever since we saw his deal to keep Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa in power after the 9th of May attack. Ever since then, we have clearly and concisely stated that we do not accept him as our Prime Minister. Now, we reject his attempt at becoming the President of this country, as we see him as an extension of the Rajapaksa regime. He has been continuously protecting the Rajapaksa cartel. So because of that, we want to make sure that he does not become the president. We demand the MPs, Ministers of Parliament, honor the mandate of the general public when they vote for tomorrow. The second point that I would like to raise is that we, as democracy-loving citizens of this country, believe that we should be giving the space for the parliamentarians to engage in their parliamentary activities today and tomorrow. So there will be no disruptions at the parliament by the protesters today or tomorrow. We understand it's paramount that the parliament proceedings occur, and it needs to occur without any interruptions at this critical juncture. So we appeal the general public not to do anything to obstruct the parliamentary proceedings.
Protests were held across the country today against the acting president Ranil Wickremesinghe. The Colombo protest was held opposite the Fort railway station with the participation of civil activists, including the Galface peaceful protesters, social activists and the Inter-University Student Federation.
Ranil Wickremesinghe couldn't even secure a seat in parliament. Now he is trying to become the president. It is not the mandate of the people. Hence, we request him to step down. We have seen that Ranil Wickremesinghe has said not to influence the local councillors. We have appointed them with our votes. If not us, who can influence them? Let's go ahead and strengthen this struggle. Ranil Wickremesinghe, the best defender of corruption, is preparing to make deals and play games to become the president with the support of the members of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and others in the parliament. Ranil Wickremesinghe is not big for us. If he becomes president tomorrow, we will definitely send him home.
The group marched from opposite the Fort railway station to Galface Green.
The Amarapura Ramanya Samagri Mahasangha Sabha convened a media briefing to make a request. This is a time when there is a lot of frustration in the country about public representatives. Those people have a great responsibility to make a suitable choice in relation to this issue and appoint a suitable person. Actions should be taken urgently to free the public from the burden. Everyone should understand the plight of the people. This is an important juncture in political history. We demand that the President-elect should be appointed to an all-party interim administration. Also, the appointment should be made for a maximum of 6 months. Whoever is elected according to the wishes of the people of this country in a general election.
Now, in one of your headline-making stories, the Catholic Church convened a media briefing and responded to the statement made by Acting President regarding the Easter attacks investigation. Releasing a special statement, Acting President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that assistance of the UK police will be sought to complete the inquiry.
Ranil Wickremesinghe making a statement on investigations on the Easter Sunday attacks hours ahead of the crucial vote in Parliament means that he is making attempts to appoint himself as the President. It can be viewed as yet another attempt to use the Easter attacks as a tool to secure power. The Easter attacks took place when Ranil Wickremesinghe was the Prime Minister, entrusted with the powers from the 19th Amendment. He remained in power for 7 months after the attacks. Today, Ranil Wickremesinghe is speaking of what he did not do during that period and states UK assistance will be obtained for the investigation. He could have approached Scotland Yard, Interpol and other agencies back then and requested for independent detectives. Therefore, we believe that this is another attempt of deception. This is an insult to the victims of the Easter attacks and for all those who have been demanding justice. This is an attempt made by Wickremesinghe to come back to power using the blood of the innocents who died. No matter what government is appointed, we will continue our struggle to demand justice for the victims of the Easter attacks. Therefore, we do not care who becomes President and Prime Minister. We demand justice and demand the people not to fall prey to these deceitful acts.
ඒක නවතින එකක් නෙමෙයි නීතිය ඔස්සේ සාධාරණත්වයේ යුක්තිය මීට ඉටු වෙන තුරු
Staten Island Sri Lankan community called for free and fair democratic elections as well as international support in Sri Lanka's recovery. The Sri Lankan community and political hopefuls gathered on the steps of Borough Hall in St. George for the rally on Sunday.
I remember several months ago we were standing about 100 yards away from here. So many of you were here at that point, calling the Sri Lankan president, his cronies, his family, his colleagues to step down, to cede power, to cede what in many ways was not a government but a criminal enterprise, and to turn the reins of the Sri Lankan government over to the people. Well, that is exactly now what is happening. That is exactly what must happen.
Corruption and nepotism should be totally eliminated. We must, I repeat, we must implement harsh punishments for those who are involved in corruption. Judiciary should be independent. Judges should not be political appointees. All past crimes should be investigated and the preparators should be brought to justice. This is the only way we can build our country.
More news will come your way after this short commercial break. Stay tuned.
නිවෙස පුරා ගලන මේ සතුට සුරක්ෂිත කරන්නේ Eslon Insight. Eslon ජීවයයි ජලයයි ජීවිතේ.
Welcome back to the news. The National Fuel Pass QR code program will be implemented across the island from Monday the 25th of July.
Minister Kanchana Wijesekara said that a pilot project will be conducted in multiple locations in Colombo from the 21st of July under the National Fuel Pass QR program. The minister said that the QR code will be tested at multiple locations in Colombo from the 21st to the 24th of July. The following changes to the last digit of the number plate for fueling will be effective from the 21st of July island-wide. Number plates ending with 0, 1 or 2 will be issued fuel on Tuesday and Saturday. Number plates ending with 3, 4 or 5 will be issued fuel on Thursday and Sunday. Number plates ending with 6, 7, 8 or 9 will be issued fuel on Monday, Wednesday and Friday.
Around the Pearl, the all-island cycling tour to promote the World Conference on Drown Prevention concluded in Colombo today.
Sri Lanka life-saving cyclists Oshada Madhushankar and Veena Jayamana completed their 16-day tour named Around the Pearl today at Golface Colombo, aimed at raising awareness among the public about the conference on drowning prevention, which is to take place in Sri Lanka in the year 2023.
Two lifesavers, a lady and a gent, has travelled day and night cycling from Colombo to Mullativ to Jaffna and all the way to Galle and back to Colombo, and they have arrived here safely, cycling more than 1,600 kilometers in 16 days, proving that Sri Lanka has once again and always has been a tourist-friendly destination for all tourists.
We had many challenges, but then again it's the people who helped us along the way.
Around the Pearl is an all-island cycling tour organized by Sri Lanka Life Saving, covering the entire coastal belt and major cities of the island.
Another phase of the Divisavya program to distribute dry rations among the families in need was held in the Munaragala district today. The program is sponsored by LOLC Holdings.
The second phase of the Divisavya program continued for the 12th day today. Several teams distributed dry rations among people in many areas of the Munaragala district. The Divisavya program aims at supporting low-income families amidst the economic crisis.
Chasing 342 runs against Sri Lanka, Pakistan are 120 runs away from victory in the first test match played at Galle.
Babar Azam lost his wicket on his individual score of 55, but his unbeaten century at stumps on day 4. After getting
And that's our primetime news here on TV1. For more of these stories, you can log on to our website, which is www.newsfirst.lk. For the Newsfirst team, I am Ruaz Irfan. Thank you for watching.
ඇත්ත කෙටියෙන් දස්ස වැඩියෙන්
සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කලබන වුවත් සලකුණ. News First YouTube චැනලය අදම සබස්ක්‍රයිබ් කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග